Kristaps Porzingis has been an X factor for the Boston Celtics on the offensive side and the defensive side of the ball since he's arrived in Boston. And Joe Mazzula speaks out on how Kristaps Porzingis' defensive versatility helped the Celtics get their win versus the Brooklyn Nets on Saturday, and how impactful Kristaps Porzingis' defensive versatility will be for the Celtics this season. We break that and more on this episode of Celtics Digest, looking at Jayson Tatum being named the Eastern Conference Player of the Week this week, and looking ahead at the matchup tonight between the Boston Celtics and the Minnesota Timberwolves, the number one offense versus the number one defense, and if the Celtics can get to 6-0. I'm Bruce Veliz. Before we get into any Celtics news, I would like to let you guys know that right around 85% of our viewers are not subscribed, 84.8% of you to be exact. I would greatly appreciate it if you guys hit that big old red subscribe button and joined the Celtics Digest family. We can't thank everyone enough that's already hit that subscribe button and joined the family. We've hit 2,000 subscribers. Thank you to everyone that's already hit the subscribe button. But if you guys want to stay up to date on Celtics news almost daily, guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button, as we'll be providing content throughout the whole regular season and the playoffs, diving into everything Boston Celtics, from trades, rumors, post-game lives. Tonight, there will be a post-game live following the Minnesota Timberwolves and Boston Celtics game. Make sure to tune into that if you want to talk everything Boston Celtics. But let's get into the news at hand today. Make sure you guys get a snack. Make sure you guys get comfortable, because this episode is jam-packed with stuff. First, we're going to be talking about Jayson Tatum being named the Player of the Week. He was just named the Player of the Week not even 30 minutes ago, right when I was getting ready to record, and I thought that is perfect to talk about in this episode for Celtics Digest. So let's look at, obviously, the post of Jayson Tatum being named Player of the Week. Obviously, super exciting for the Boston Celtics, super exciting for Jayson Tatum. I saw a tweet as I was getting ready for this. This is Jayson Tatum's 10th Player of the Week reward that he's received in his whole career. Congratulations to you, Jayson Tatum. You definitely deserve it. You balled this week. Obviously, Jayson Tatum and the Boston Celtics are 5-0 to start off the regular season. They are the only undefeated team in the whole NBA, and they are the best team in the NBA statistically. So obviously, Jayson Tatum being one of their best players and performing greatly in this Brooklyn Nets game, playing great in the Indiana Pacers game, and playing great in the Washington Wizards game, ultimately got him this goal award this week. The guy, Steph Curry, got it in the Western Conference. Congratulations to him as well. But Jayson Tatum is definitely deserving of this award, and I'm very proud to see a Celtic win it only in the second week of the NBA season, and we should definitely expect some more Player of the Week winners from this roster, as we've already seen them perform greatly so far this season. But let's dive into the second news at hand today, which is the Celtics without two starters tonight, and that possibly could be the case. Yesterday, the injury report came out for the Boston Celtics, and it wasn't as scary as it is today. Let's look at that while we discuss this. Yesterday, Oshae Brissett, Neemias Queta, and Derrick White were on the injury report, with Brissett being questionable, Neemias Queta being ruled out, and Derrick White being ruled probable. For tonight's game, Derrick White is out again with personal reasons, with his newborn child being on the way. He is definitely sitting out, totally fine with that. Neemias Queta still is having that right foot injury management, so he will be out for tonight. Kristaps Porzingis, though, is the new one on the injury report. He is questionable tonight with a right eye sty, and Oshae Brissett is still questionable with a left thumb sprain. I would love to see Oshae Brissett be able to play tonight for the Boston Celtics. I think he's a big vital piece for their bench at backup center. I really like what he provides with offensive rebounding compared to Luke Kornet. And without having him, we might see the Celtics have to resort to Luke Kornet, which might be not that great. Or you might see some more influx of minutes for Lamar Stevens, which I think would be great. But I don't know if Mazzula is trusting Lamar Stevens to be that backup center yet. So we'll have to wait and see. We might see an influx of Kornet minutes. With Kristaps Porzingis being out, that is also maybe a possibility of a scare. Even though it was a right eye sty, it shouldn't be a big problem. He might be just taking a precautionary reason for that tonight. But if they are going up against a team in the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are the number one defense, and we are without two of our starters, the Celtics will have a tough time scoring on this Minnesota Timberwolves team. This Minnesota Timberwolves team is solid, has great scorers in Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns, having great defensive pieces in Rudy Gobert and Jaden McDaniels to stop the Boston Celtics. The only hole in the Timberwolves team that I see is their wing position. They don't have a good scorer there. Yes, Jaden McDaniels is going to be able to lock up, hopefully not be able to lock up Jaylen Brown or Jayson Tatum, but that's what they're expecting. And the other one hopefully will be able to go off on the other wing that is playing alongside of him. Naz Reid's also been playing really well for the Minnesota Timberwolves, so don't be sleeping on this big front court coming out of the Timberwolves tonight. But the Boston Celtics definitely have some cautionary injuries to be worrying about with Oshae Brissett with his thumb now. That's a bit, hopefully nothing big as well. Also, Porzingis might be just out for this one game if he is to sit out, and obviously Derrick White will be back soon. He's just out with personal reasons. Celtics look solid without Derrick White in their last game versus the Brooklyn Nets. With this team without Kristaps Porzingis, with them having a big front court with the three of their four best players being Naz Reid, Rudy Gobert, and Karl-Anthony Towns, it is very scary for the Boston Celtics to go out with them without Kristaps Porzingis and only having Al Horford and Luke Kornet, especially if Oshae Brissett is out. But let's talk about the most important news today, and most probably why you click on the video, is Joe Mazzula speaking out on Kristaps Porzingis' defensive versatility. And we have an article from Jay King here to discuss Kristaps Porzingis' versatility. He says that Joe Mazzula has pointed out how strong Kristaps Porzingis' switching numbers have been in the past. The Celtics will use him in that role at times. Against a small Brooklyn Nets lineup with nothing but perimeter players, they went to it at late, and Porzingis held up well. So we'll look at this article from The Athletic, and Jay King says that during the first regular season game, Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford started together. The Boston Celtics drew an extremely interesting match for that particular duo. Without the injured Nicholas Claxton and Ben Simmons, the Brooklyn Nets started nothing but guards and wings Saturday night. In their first unit, Dorian Finney-Smith, mostly closely resembled as the center, he's a 6'8" forward who shoots more than half of his field goal attempts from beyond the three-point line. Now, obviously, without Derrick White, the Celtics had to go their double big lineup as their five predominantly best players. And with the Brooklyn Nets not having Nicholas Claxton and Ben Simmons, their two best front court players, they went with a smaller lineup, which you'd think would be a mismatch for the Boston Celtics, as Al Horford can play the perimeter on defense, and Kristaps Porzingis can play the perimeter as well. But not fans expect them to be the great perimeter defenders. So they thought it was going to be a mismatch for the Brooklyn Nets where they'd be able to run small ball lineups and be able to hit a bunch of threes. And if that was to be successful, the Celtics would just get run off the court. And Joe Mazzula even said that even though the 7'3" center's defensive impact will often come from the way that he protects the rim, Mazzula has stressed that Kristaps Porzingis is more than just a paint-bound tree. After the first practice of the season, Mazzula made it clear that the team would not use Kristaps Porzingis simply as a one-dimensional defender, and as well, Porzingis blocked shots. Mazzula said the Celtics would also use his flexibility on that end of the court. Mazzula even pointed to statistics from previous years that showed Kristaps Porzingis actually fared well in switches. The Celtics won't always use him in such a fashion, but he believes the strategy will at least be a club in their bag. And he was definitely right about that. This article dives in talking about how the Boston Celtics use Kristaps Porzingis as a major force to disrupt the Brooklyn Nets defense. As they mentioned, Dorian Finney-Smith was playing their center, a predominantly three-point shooter as a forward, playing a small ball center. He's going to be stretching out to the wing. And Kristaps Porzingis was switching off screens, blocking threes, and doing exactly what Joe Mazzula wanted. And he was the key X factor to stopping the Brooklyn Nets at the three-point line in this game. The Boston Celtics were able to get a 124-114 victory over the Brooklyn Nets, mainly impactful from the defensive impact from Kristaps Porzingis. Obviously, guys like Jrue Holiday had a big impact on defense as well, but Kristaps Porzingis being able to switch onto these defenders and being able to have that lateral quickness at the three-point line is something that Josh and I had discussed in previous videos and leading up to the season, and talked about how he needed to be able to do that to ensure that his impact on the defensive side of the floor, not being just a rim protector, and he clearly has done that, as he just did that in this game. They also mentioned in the article that even though that the Nets put a ton of pressure on their defense because of the way they shoot and how fast they play and they spread you out, and that's how they have 3 or 4 guys that can make hard shots. Even though they were able to do that, guys like Kristaps Porzingis were able to negate that by being able to get to the three-point line, being able to switch off of these pick and rolls, being able to jump these screens, and be able to get contested shots off. Most of these shots that were highlighted in this article were not shots that were good shots, and Kristaps Porzingis definitely got there to stop them and be an impact force. I'm very, very high on Kristaps Porzingis this season. I was a little bit disappointed when they got him, but after seeing him play with the Boston Celtics in these 5 regular season games, he's totally changed my mind, and he's the complete X factor that has changed this Boston Celtics roster to make them the odds favorite to possibly win the championship at this moment, being the only undefeated team in the NBA. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about how impactful you guys think Kristaps Porzingis has been this season on a scale of 1 to 10. And if you guys are excited for this Minnesota Timberwolves versus Boston Celtics game, let me know in the comment section down below as well. You guys want to make sure you guys are stayed tuned to the post-game live. We will have that scheduled for after the game. You can ask questions. We can talk about the game. You can ask anything Boston Celtics. I'd greatly appreciate it if you guys tuned in. If not, no worries. There'll be plenty of other post-game lives to break down and talk to. But that's going to be it for this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz. If you guys are still at this point in the video and still have not subscribed, make sure to hit that button, as we know you enjoy this content. And I'll catch you guys in the next Celtics Digest video if you guys are not in the live stream. If you're on the live stream, I'll catch you guys tonight. Peace out. Have a great rest of your night, and go Celtics.